If everyone's ready. No edits, no filter. March 5th, take one.
All right. Welcome to No Edits. We have some new guests here. John, you want to share what we talk about here at No Edits?
We talk about autism, sports, movies, and political matters.
Okay. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Cover a lot of space.
And sometimes jokes.
Sometimes jokes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right. So we have some guests here on No Edits today. So do you want to give yourself a quick introduction?
Hi, my name is Jack Zimmerman, and I'm like a visitor on this. It's on the Avenue today, and also for No Edits, No Filter.
Okay.
I'm Saul. I'm friends with Riley and Brad. I went to the same program as them.
Okay, sweet. Saul?
Yes.
Saul. Okay. Awesome. All right. So today I thought we would talk a little bit about kind of what we talked about before during your presentation about how to win and then how to lose at the same time. So knowing when you win, how to handle that, and when you lose, what's the course of action from there? You know, do you give up? Do you keep trying? Do you persevere? And go from there. Okay? So, how many of you guys have ever failed at something? Okay. So pretty much everyone's failed.
I failed before.
You failed before.
How many of you have not failed?
I don't think anyone's holding their hand up for that
Nobody's
one.
perfect.
Exactly.
right.
Nobody's perfect. So, how do we, to get ourselves out of those failures, how do we dig ourselves out of that?
We just learn from the mistakes.
Yeah.
Learn from mistakes. Okay. Leo, what do you do when you fail at something? Do you give up? Do you keep trying? What's your position there?
Well, if the opposing team is the Houston Texans, I show unfailing sportsmanship. But if the opposing team is the Chicago Bears, I show them the worst attitude I can possibly emit.
Okay. All right. So let's say you get beat by the Bears. You know, you're playing a game, you get beat by the Bears. Do you give up? Do you turn the game off?
Yes.
You're done? You just don't want to play anymore? Or
That's
do you
not a good way to do that.
Yeah, do you try to, come back and,
I definitely come back.
Okay, so you practice a little bit? Like, how do you do that? How do you overcome the Bears?
I play as hard as possible.
Okay, so maybe you focus up a little bit more?
And it's like that not just in the NFL, but in other team sports. In the NBA, if the opposing team is the Chicago Bulls, I show unfailing sportsmanship. But if the opposing team is the Phoenix Suns, I give them the worst attitude I can manage.
Okay, any team is can have problems here and there, but they don't have to be so specific, you know.
Yeah, that's the one problem with having such a narrow mind is you don't give a team the chance to impress you. Like, for example, everyone here knows was a staunch Lipscomb supporter. But this is not me announcing my fandom a way that is in some respects. But if I'm ever at a Belmont game that may or may not happen to be against Lipscomb, I'm pulling for you guys.
All right, well, we got that on camera, so that's all good. No edits is over today, guys. We got all we needed.
We got what we needed.
I feel like someone's going to edit this and send just that portion to Casey and Sean.
Where's Brad? Yeah, when you're clipping this together, make sure you get those 10 seconds. Send it my way. I'll do what needs to be done from there.
I will.
But Riley's got a good point there. Even if your opponent or who you're playing against is somebody that you're struggling against, you may not like just because they're kind of beating up on you, being able to look at them open-mindedly and respect them, even though you're competing against them, will help you in the long run find solutions to overcome that situation.
And every team has its own seasons where they could be good or they can fizzle out.
That's true. Sometimes,
I remember in the late 2000s, the early 2010s, the Tennessee Titans were not doing as good as they were.
that is true. Sometimes your team's good. Sometimes your team's bad. You gotta stay level-headed, not get too high or too low. Rita, how do you react when you fail at something? Do you give up? Do you throw it away? Do you
kind of like what Jack was saying? Just I take it as an experience and we learn from it and just adapt and take what say if I'm doing something and I messed up, didn't turn out how I wanted, I know, okay, this is something I need to work on, or this is something I need to look out for next time, so to tweak and stuff like that, because that's something I talk about a lot, and with Ray and other people like my dad or here, is stuff if I was to let things stop me every time, I wouldn't be learning from it or overcoming it. It would just be a wall and a block just constantly stopping. So just adapting and learning from the mistakes and whatnot.
Do you think you've always been like that? Or do you think, you think you've always been able to kind of see through the initial struggle of failure and be able to push through that?
Yeah, I try to wire my brain like that. It's not necessarily you're always losing, it's just an experience to learn from and overcome type of thing. And just being open-minded, not just I messed up, I ruined this thing, it's no good, it's instead of just going I messed it all up, it's okay, this didn't come out how I wanted it to look, but instead let's rework it, go back at the drawing board, and then we tweak it and look back at it and what I can improve on and what not to do.
Yeah, I played for a coach once in basketball that we weren't allowed to call them losses; they were learning experiences. So we had 20 wins and 12 learning experiences.
It's like Bob Ross.
Yeah, it's kind of Bob Ross.
Still a good victory rate.
That is still, I guess that is still a good win percentage. Brad, what do you do when you fail at something or you're struggling?
Well, mine's kind of like yours, Rita. Yeah, so I can also go through a big learning experience, because looking back the past failure, I at least learned from it. It teaches me to slow down, and it'll show me what to improve on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you've always been like that? You've always had that positive mindset about failure?
Well, yeah, we could say that. Yeah, so I can be pretty much slow, take your time kind of thing.
Take your time. Okay. That's true. You're very patient and you're very you research a lot. Whenever you run into kind of a brick wall, I've noticed that you kind of take it upon yourself to go and research and go use Google, use your resources to find solutions. Big John, what do you do when you're failing or struggling with something? How do you react to that?
Well, I kind of look the other way. I turn the other cheek. I said, like those computers when I can't turn them on, sometimes get frustrated, try to do something else and all that.
Yeah, so that's, John has pretty much only been using computers for the past really 6 to 8 months. It's a pretty new experience. You sent your first email, I think, about a year ago. That was a pretty cool thing. I remember that. But in terms of using programs and doing a lot of things on your own, this is still very new to you. So you have a lot of experiences where you'll run into a program or buttons that you haven't seen yet. So
I'm kind of slow learner.
So do you ever get frustrated with that? That it's sometimes challenging to figure out what's going on? How do you just how do you keep yourself from getting too angry?
Well, I get frustrated and it's almost like going to hell. Especially, come on, it's time in my class. I said I don't want to go. Y'all kind of made me do it because y'all kind of strong with little one, tough on me and all of that.
Yeah.
Just, I kind of turned the other cheek. Like pretty soon start riding Uber up here instead of my parents driving me and all of that.
Yeah.
Well,
That'd be a big step for you, Big John.
yeah. So I want to drive back and forth. I can't really drive myself. Just one of these days I'll live by myself and all of that. So
Little stepping stones.
Yeah.
that's just I've been a slow learner on my own life actually. When I was younger, I couldn't even tie my shoes when I was younger. Now I got better at it.
Yeah. You tie your shoes now. So
Yeah.
how did you just kept trying? That's what you did?
Once I was 11 or 12, when I was 12 or 13, I started tying my own shoes and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's something that I've noticed about you, John, is you never really stop trying. Sometimes you get frustrated with that stuff, but you keep trying, keep moving through.
Well,
It absolutely sucks when you fail on something, but it's always a learning experience. Like, you just have to learn from your mistakes and read some more information and get it right.
Yeah. Okay. Saul?
So like I played like 4 different sports through like high school and before I got in high school. So I learned if we lost the game next day, it's like we either watch the film or figure out what I did wrong and try to fix it the next day in practice and use like the mistakes to learn from what I messed up on to do better the next game.
Yeah. Those film sessions are usually tough after a loss. They're usually not fun to go to. How do you convince yourself to go and look at your mistakes? That was something that I struggled with when I was younger, is I never wanted to watch the plays that I messed up. It's easy to watch the plays where you do make the basket or score the touchdown, but it's hard to watch the plays when you mess up.
Yeah, so my dad, he coached and played track. So my dad always and taught me to push hard in what I do, and my dad would also teach me what better thing to do, and hockey or wrestling or basketball that I did. He tell me I need to go better at that spot or do something better at that spot. They point out which specific spot I mess up on.
Yeah. And that's something there is one of the things that helps you improve is finding out where you need to improve. And that sounds really simple, but sometimes we get so bogged down with failure, we just see it as a whole failure rather than this right here is why I'm failing. There's a leak. This whole thing isn't leaking. It's just that spot. I got to put a tape on that spot. That's where your failure is. And once you figure out where the problem is, it's easier to fix it.
And I feel like in some sports, if the coach said, "Hey, you did wrong in that spot," it should it's not the best thing for a coach to point you out on that. But with me, I try to feel that energy to be better at the next game or practice.
Yeah.
So it's a learning from that experience.
Yeah. That's a good attitude to have about it. Dave, how do you deal with failure? Something goes wrong, you're running something that you're maybe not excelling at.
I try to look at it in a different angle. I see exactly what it is I want to succeed at and how to succeed at it. And I know that there's going to be some obstacles and detours along the way. So I just keep at it. I was telling Haley that as long as we all try, we're all winners. Because we tried, we put in 1,000% of what we've got.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are afraid to put in 100% because if you put 100% in and you still fail, a lot of people can't handle that, even though that's really the way you got to approach it, because it's an easy out to say, well, I didn't really try that hard, that's why I wasn't able to do it.
Well, you also start to have your own doubts on things.
Yeah.
I know I've had my doubts on something when I was taking a course. This was almost 30 years ago. I was taking a course at school, learning a program called Quark Express, and I hated the instructor. I mean, he made it a lot more complicated than it really was. And after that semester, I said to myself, I don't want to look at another Mac again. And then a friend of mine who knew Quark Express, she tutored me on it, and she just put it in plain English for me, and now I use it. I've been using it for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes that's what you got to do. Just kind of change up your strategy instead of boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not working. Move over here. So you had an instructor that kind of you just didn't jive with.
Right. I mean, it would just remind me of that instructor, that a-hole instructor.
Yeah. Sometimes you get just whatever for whatever reason. It's not always easiest to learn from certain people. Haley.
Failure?
Have you ever failed before?
Just all the time. Yeah.
Failure is not an option, so they say.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely a quote that's popular. Yeah, I think I definitely have a lot of failures in my life, and I think the more times that we do it, it can be discouraging. But I think this semester in particular, I've had an interesting experience with it. I mean, I talked about it last week on No Edits as well, strangely enough. But yeah, I guess the more that you try in general, at least in my experience, the more you feel like you start to gain confidence in trying more and more, and you continuously have maybe more failures, but then you also have more successes. So it's just the more experience in general, the more things you start to create, the more confidence you begin to gain, and so you feel, I guess, more empowered to do things. But I don't know. More to say on it at the moment.
Okay. Riley?
I believe it was Wayne Gretzky, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
I thought that was Michael Scott who said that.
Yeah, but he quoted Wayne Gretzky.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, you can't get much more quotable than one of the greats of hockey.
Yeah. So what do you think? What does that quote mean to you? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
So, what that quote means to me is you got to seize the opportunity while it's there.
Yeah.
Basically, like, if you don't try, then you're not doing anything, really. Like, if you don't put that effort in and giving it a chance to try it, then you're just holding yourself back from that opportunity and experience.
Yeah.
And another quote that I believe goes good with failure is "Don't give up, don't ever give up," from Jimmy V.
That's a good one. Yeah. Dawson? How do you deal with failing at something or struggling with something?
I don't like those things. If I fails on it first time, I'd like to try it again.
Just try it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get discouraged when you fail, or do you just, does it not bother you?
Sometimes I would get a little discouraged.
Okay. How do you keep yourself kind of in the right mind frame, like, oh, it's okay, I can try again?
I have no idea.
No? Okay. Why do you try again?
More I try again, I guess more I try again, I just get better.
Yeah, okay. So the more you try, the better you get.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Repetition. Well, does anybody else have anything to add to that? Just I feel like we got some pretty good responses there about dealing with failure. Leo?
Riley, what all-time great in hockey were you talking about?
Wayne Gretzky.
What team is he on?
He's retired.
I mean, what team was he on?
I have no clue.
He played for the LA Kings, and
You sure about that?
he did play for the Kings at the
Sure.
end of his career. And I think he played for the Edmonton Oilers.
It was like a white and green jersey he wore, right?
I think that was the Oilers.
Yeah.
You're looking that
My
up?
dad
Are you
had
talking
like a
about
doll
the
of him.
Wayne
Whalers?
Gretzky. He played for... Who did he play for?
He had like curly hair, right? Am I thinking of the right guy? Curly hair.
He did have curly hair. Yes, it was
Wait
the
a
green
sec.
jersey.
He played for the Indianapolis Racers, the Edmonton Oilers, the LA Kings, St. Louis Blues, and the New York Rangers. All lasting from 78 to 1999.
He played a long time. So he played for the...
St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues are trash.
What about the Edmonton Oilers?
I'm not familiar
Not
with
familiar.
them.
Edmonton.
Edmonton? Yeah.
It's a Canadian town.
Oh.
Canadian city.
Okay.
Well, I'm probably not rooting for them either.
What about the LA Kings?
I'm truly rooting for the Los Angeles Kings.
There we go. All right. Wayne Gretzky, as long as he's in an LA Kings jersey, is approved by Leo.
Plus, I think he's retired anyway.
He's
At
definitely
this
retired.
point.
He's about 60 years old.
He is 60.
He's exactly 60. Wow. Okay. Nobody else has anything.
I do have something more.
You've got some more? Okay.
If I lost to the St. Louis Blues, I'd show them the worst attitude humanly possible.
Okay. Well,
But if I lost to the Boston Bruins, I'd show unfailing sportsmanship.
okay. Well, Leo, I hope if there's anything that you learned from today, it's, even if you do lose, it's all right. It's a learning experience. Try something different.
It's like a happy meal. You get what you get and you don't get upset.
Yeah.
That's
It's
all right,
always
there's
random.
Nothing else needs to be said. John,
Except for,
Yep.
I'm gonna go have me a snack of a big ass taco. I've got one right here, actually. Thank you for watching, and click here to subscribe.